Okay, hi Rachel, how you doing? I've got you queued up here, and I want to talk a little bit about your poster. And I've got the project specs open over here, so I'm trying to fit both in the window, and I think so we'll be going back and forth talking about, just to make sure you've met the project specs, and then we'll talk about the layout and the images, and then the typography as it relates to image. So, in terms of the instructions and the project specifications, your selected object must be the dominant image. So I'm guessing that is your dominant image, but it's not dominant because it's too close in size to this and also to this. So you really haven't designated this as a dominant image. And typically you do so by scale. So I think it would be dramatic to really emphasize the dominant focal point of the piece. Whereas right now I don't think it is. I think the eye goes like this, trying to figure out what you want us to look at first. Um, Poster must include an object of the image in use. Okay, so your object is the headphones. So here's your object of your headphones in use. So that's good. The poster must include one image that results from the use of your object. So this is a really tough one because how do you show the result of listening to headphones and music other than showing somebody listening to headphones and this little illustration of music? I mean, that's about the best you can ask for, but it's still a pretty convoluted. I think it's just a really difficult concept to try to visualize. So I think you got your work cut out for you there. In terms of showing an image that is the resulted use of headphones. Poster must include two components from your selected object. So, okay, so you have this cable over here, but that's not part of a headphone. That's just a cable. So that's not a component of the headphone. The earphone is, there the ear pad is, but I don't really necessarily see where you have to label it. You see what I'm saying? And I'm going to show you an example in a second. I think it'll make a lot more sense. Pick the leaf blower, blah, 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 blah. So your components. So you really need to show some components of the headphones. And if you look at headphones, boy, there's some really cool stuff going on. I mean, the design areas, really cool stuff. I know I look at mine all the time thinking it's pretty cool looking design. Okay, poster must include a paragraph of text that describes what the object is, object or artifact means to you. Okay, so you have this one paragraph, and that's great, but then you have this. Look, you have the phrase design in everyday life must be present somewhere in your poster. So I don't see it here. You have design as the common item for use in everyday life, but you don't have these words, design in everyday life. So being that this is a poster, I think I think it makes sense to think that would act as a sort of a headline. So, a place to establish your first point in typographic hierarchy, which is has going to have to work with the headphone, the image of the headphone. Okay, so we don't have that here. You must include some small caption of text, either with your result image, but you have this and this, but that's a word, not a caption. Okay, so how do we improve the work? I want you to take a look at this piece example. I've done a little bit of research to help you out here, and this is what I found. And take a look at this piece. And this is interesting because I found a piece that's really interesting enough. It's very much related and associated to our project for this week. So I just want you to look at this piece, okay, and then look at your piece and try to be objective. Okay, look at your piece. Look at this piece. Look at your piece. Look at this piece. Okay, what are you getting? Because I'm going to tell you what I'm getting. I'm getting excuse me one second. Okay, so I'm so sorry about that. But anyways, so what I was talking about is this this piece as compared to your piece. So I think this piece is a lot more harmonious. And just let me explain why before you get mad at me for saying that. The reason this piece is harmonious is because it's mathematically laid out perfectly. Why do I say mathematically? I say mathematically, Rachel, because this has a very solid grid behind it. Okay, very solid. You don't see it, but it's there and your eye knows it's there. The viewer knows it's there. That's why there's these beautiful relationships. None of this stuff happens to just fall here. Rachel, this is a very carefully designed grid where things are all going to line up. Okay, something is lining with something everywhere. All right. And if the imaginary, if it's not expressly lined up with something, it's going to be very much in tune with one of the intersecting points in the grid, the underlying grid. Why do I bring that up? Because, whoops, I bring that up because if we take a look at your piece, and let's look at a grid over your piece. Okay, so let me just hit my grid up here. I just placed a grid over your piece. And what do we have? We have this piece here. Now, this piece, this does align to part of the grid, okay? But everything is in such close size. There's no, that the images are all close enough and close enough in tonal value. Okay, for instance, if you slide away from your screen and squint your eyes, all four of those images, 1, 2, 3, 4, all appear as they're almost the same. I'm sorry, I have 5 images, including that type. So we really want to make a demarcation here of typography, of typographic, and also of hierarchy based on images. You need that headline in here, and try to make things align with the grid. Okay, you have to design your own grid, but for instance, if this were, I don't see where this is aligning. A lot of your things, let me get rid of that grid. There's a lot of things that just aren't aligning in your work. So we want to work on that. We want to work on interesting, shots of what can you use, different choices of what you can use in your, your poster, different shots and different interesting images. Okay, is this an interesting image? Rachel, it's an image of an ear pad. I mean, it looks like it could have come out of a trade book or a parts manual or something. Likewise over here. So think about that, okay? And I'm not trying to beat you up. I'm trying to get you to think, okay? So just please constructively, okay? So let's take it from there and let's see what you can do from here, okay? Remember, hierarchy in image and in type. Don't forget your headline so we can create a relationship with your paragraph and the headline. Okay? Thanks very much, Rachel.